We have Garry Chalk. We have Neil Kaplan.
Be on the fan page.
Excellent. There we are. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So isn't it nice to be indoors when it's nice and cool and not baking outside in the heat? I used to live here in Ontario for a few years up in Ottawa, and I remember that it would be colder, coldest, cold, then sort of warm, and then hot, and then wet hot, muggy, unlivable, death-causing hot, and then cold again. It just, there was never really any, there was that little couple of weeks around June, the first week of June where it was nice, and then it all of a sudden went to hell and then it became winter again. So I'm used to the heat, so I like it. But Neil.
This isn't hot. I live in LA. That's hot. My understanding is even Vancouver's supposed to be pretty hot this weekend.
Well, Vancouver, we got up to, now wait for it.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
In Celsius, we got up to
myself.
26 Celsius.
Holy crap. Is that bad?
That's like 78 degrees.
No,
I thought I died and gone to heaven. People are passing out in the street.
I think I read it's supposed to get up to 90 this weekend. See?
Listen.
Yeah, you got an alarm there.
I've got hang
Garry,
on. This
you've
will
got
be
a
funny.
panel.
I got a lap. Hello? Hello? It's for who? For Stephen Harper. Oh, you're just reminding me that the election's coming up soon, and and this is a message from, oh, go away.
Okay.
Do you ever get those? Do you ever get those robocalls from Stephen Harper, and we get them from Christy Clark and our mayor, who we're not big fans of. Not your mayor. Your mayor's a riot. He's just a laugh clown. But our mayor he's not a riot. He's not even a good party. Anyway, I don't know why that did that right now, because I don't usually get phone calls at this time of day, but it was a miracle.
They knew it was an important time. So Garry,
Yeah.
you were on one of the greatest TV shows ever. You were on Wiseguy, and I just learned that. I'm like
Wiseguy.
I know. That is like
Well,
so awesome.
It was the funniest thing is that I remember going for Stephen Cannell, and Stephen Cannell started bringing his shows up into Vancouver. And one of the first shows they did was Wiseguy, and then I think 21 Jump Street came up after that. And I remember going into an audition and saying, this is really cool. I'd really like to be in this show because I love Stephen Cannell shows, and I did at that time because he did all those great shows. And they said, okay, so you're in. So I went in and I got hired, and I went, well, that's easy. So
this is pretty cool.
So I showed up on set, and this is to tell you, this is way back when I had very little experience working on television sets, and I wanted to make sure that when I went to work that I knew what I was doing, so I didn't look like an idiot. So I'd show up on the set a couple of days before shooting, and I walked on to the producers, and the guy going, "What are you doing here? What, you don't belong here." And I said, I know, but because I don't have a lot of experience working on TV shows, I just wanted to get a feel for it and see what everybody does and see what their jobs are. And the guy goes, "You're the first person ever done that." That's amazing. Well, thank you very much. And then they hired me for every single Cannell show. I think I've worked on every single show. So sometimes being conscientious is a good idea.
Absolutely.
Sometimes. But yeah, I know.
Did you work with Ken Wall? Or?
I worked with Ken Wall. Here's a great story about Ken Wall. Ken Wall was like me. I cannot learn lines at home. You know how we have to memorize all our scripts.
Okay, so what do you do?
So we'd go up to you've all heard of Denny's. Well, Denny's is open 24 hours. And I do my best work at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
I can memorize a whole script in an hour. Well, Ken Wall was also like that. He couldn't memorize in his hotel room, so he'd always go to Denny's. So we'd sit almost every week. Ken and I would be sitting at the coffee counter at Denny's learning our lines, and we looked like everybody else on the counter because it also was a place where people who talk to themselves.
Oh, sure. See, back before cell phones, kids,
Yes.
when you'd see somebody walking through the aisles of the supermarket talking out loud, they were just talking to themselves. Now
They're talking to
having a
themselves.
conversation.
And the great thing is that we fit right in.
Right, of course.
Because there's these two guys sitting in the coffee counter going, what are you talking about? We're going to go in here. And going, yeah, but I can't go in there. Well, what do you mean? And people don't look at you because everybody on the counter is all going, yeah, so, well, what do you think? I don't know. And but we were learning lines, and
They were just
weren't. So
And
we got to be quite good pals. And Ken Wall was a wonderful guy and a great actor. He's been beset by a few tragedies. He broke his neck in an accident one time, and got an ankle broken in another one. And so I don't know what he's doing these days. I haven't seen him in quite a long time, but he was a real fun guy.
And you work with a great late Ray Sharkey?
Ray Sharkey, yes. He
Jeez.
was
I'm telling you, if you've never seen Wiseguy, besides the fact that you can see a very young Garry
very young
talk,
me.
It's a great show, and you should check it out.
Yes, and Ray Sharkey, and Ray Sharkey was in it. Jerry Lewis was in it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Oh, that
Jerry
was a
Lewis.
great season.
The guy from
was.
what's the band? Not ZZ Top. Oh, come on, Gary. Da 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 da. Fleetwood Mac.
Oh.
The drummer for Fleetwood Mac played a character in it for a little while.
Is that Lindsey Buckingham?
Mick Fleetwood.
Oh, Mick. Oh, right.
The big tall guy, Mick Fleetwood. So it was quite interesting. There was quite a lot of great people in there. But there you go. Now you. What about you?
Well, don't worry about me. You were in the Gray Fox. You were in the Gray Fox. No, because I sat there. Because I got to tell you, Gary, okay? In all seriousness, I don't know if you guys have heard, but they've made live action versions of Transformers into films. I don't know if you've heard this. But I got to tell you, it has bummed me out, and I haven't seen the fourth one yet, that they haven't used you, quite frankly. You know, no, stop. Don't say anything, because I got to tell you, because I enjoy whenever I see you on camera.
Thank you.
Since I've gotten to know you, and when I first met you, I mean, I recognized you from all of your great work for decades. And the fact that you haven't done a cameo in the Transformers films bothers me. And I just want to get that out there.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Because you know what?
I'm sure you're not happy with it.
It bothers me too. Because, you know, there was a big kerfuffle in the first Transformers movie about who they were going to use. They're going to use Generation 1, or they're going to use me, or they're going to use you,
Right.
or whatever. So they're going out, and they had a survey, and it was kind of 50-50 between Peter Cullen and myself. But they decided to go with Peter because Peter did Gen 1.
Yeah. Which
And he
makes
had
sense,
that
and I get
voice. And my Optimus, well, I eventually did do some Optimus Primes, but my Primal was more human than the robotic one, and they kept trying to do it this way, and so I do it that way for like Armada, and it just wasn't the same. No. But I questioned Michael Bay about this, and I think it was Michael Bay, and he goes, on the quote on the Twitter. Is this guy for real? Who is this guy?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I said, well, I'm just, asking if I can audition for the role, and they
I
just
remember-
sloughed me off.
I remember there was something, it was somebody's website, but there was a discussion for a little while in 2005
Yeah.
about you and I, and it was the whole, well, he was the second to play Optimus Prime. No, he was the second to play Optimus Prime because he didn't play Optimus Prime, he played Optimus Primal.
Primal.
He was the third actor to play Optimus Prime and
Yeah.
all this stuff, and I'm just sitting there going, they're gonna get the original, they want to sell tickets.
Yeah. Well,
But the fact of it is, you could play the general, you could play the president, me on camera doesn't work.
I could have
You
played
on-
that guy driving the truck that got smashed.
You should have.
I could have, and I could have been like Stan Lee. I could have gone.
Yep. I think it would be great if you were the driver inside of Optimus Prime.
I think that would be absolutely hysterical, but they wouldn't let us. So we'll see what happens with the next one.
With Transformers 5.
Yeah.
Or 6.
Yeah.
Or 9.
It could happen. Or 9.
Yeah.
And then I'll be old enough.
Although, you'll finally be a grown-up and able to do it.
Oh man, but there are so many cool projects out there. I got to do Godzilla. I mean, how cool is that?
You did Godzilla? They must have cut that scene out.
They did. There was a lot of screaming.
Thank you. You got it.
There's a lot of screaming, and it was mostly from me because they made him fat. I don't know what happened. I couldn't understand. They were complaining about Godzilla being overweight. He's big boned.
Wow, he's not fat. That's the horrible. It's horrible misinformation by the Japanese. It's just a campaign to really get the people away from the new version and we remain faithful to Toho. Ha! Godzilla!
Yeah. But I watched every one of those Godzilla movies. I thought they were the coolest movies, except for the guy in the rubber suit. Boom, boom, boom. I knew, even when I was a kid of 7 years old or 8 years old, I knew that was a guy in a suit.
Do you know the first movie I ever cried at was The Son of Godzilla?
No way.
It was the ending of the movie when the kid who would blow the smoke rings, and they're on the island and they start getting frozen. They're getting frozen. They found each other and they're getting frozen.
No, they froze them. It's just terrible.
It was horrible. It was like, that tells you what kind of an adult I grew up into.
But the one thing I love about this new movie is there's a lot of references to the very first movie. You know the kid who gets lost in the market with the red baseball cap? Well, they used, if you look at the original film and look at the new Godzilla, the kid is wearing the exact same clothes as the original kid in the original film. The one who goes, oh, look, Godzilla! And the kid runs away and gets caught. And there are a lot of references like that in the new movie. So I thought that Gareth did an absolutely wonderful job of it. But hey, we're not here to talk about Godzilla.
No, but we're talking
We're
about
here
you.
to talk about Transformers.
Okay.
And whatever else you want to talk about. So if anyone has a question out there, please.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, interrupt
I know
us. Otherwise,
there's-
I'm just going to interview Gary Chalk for an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Well,
because
Neil will get his turn in a second because I'm going to
Don't
start
worry about
asking
me.
him.
He was in Watchmen, for crying out loud.
All right. Come to Jesus. You have a question? We have lots of time, but again, in the interest of fairness,
look
try
at-
to limit it to
Here
one
it
or two
comes.
questions.
Oh, he's got him on a note card. We're screwed.
In episode
Excellent.
3,
Yeah, exactly.
In the next shot, it was a winged Appaloosa. Can you explain that?
you what?
The wizard did it line.
First a picture. Wait, why don't you ask the question, then take the picture of us answering your question instead of
There's no
wasting
idea
everybody's
because
time.
it might look good. It might look like
Like we're saying
God.
something,
It's
you know,
actually-
but instead of writing.
It's a video though, so it's like next
Oh, he's
gen.
taking a video. Oh, okay.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. So he's got
Go
a video
ahead.
of me telling him to take the picture.
Ask away. You got lots of people up there.
Cool.
All right, so my question is, after the Beast Wars success, this is for Garry.
Thank you, because
Neil, you get it too.
After you watched a lot of episodes of Beast Wars, Neil, what did you have for lunch?
So after Neil did Robots in Disguise for Optimus Prime, and you became Optimus Prime in the Unicron trilogy, who did you mostly focus on? Did you get inspiration from Neil or Peter Cullen himself?
Well, basically, I copied Neil because I didn't know what to do with the Unicron trilogy, so I just followed.
Shut up! You did not. What a liar!
I absolutely
almost
did.
bought it for a
I
second.
absolutely did because I had no idea. Because you have to remember that when I started doing Transformers, I was already almost middle-aged, so I didn't really grow up with it. My only exposure to Transformers before the robots and not robots, before the Maximals, was a commercial where I used to do all the commercials for Transformers Generation 2, battery sold separately.
You
all
were
those-
that guy?
I was that guy, and so that
He was the battery sold separately guy.
that was my only exposure to the Transformers. And to this day, I still cannot disassemble and reassemble. I have tried, and now there are bits and pieces
I
in the
will
house.
I will guarantee you, play one of the things that was necessary to play Optimus Prime, not transforming the robots. That was not part of it. I can guarantee you, all four of us would spend a day
Trying to
working
make
in a
it work.
team, okay? I think you should move the. Yeah, no.
Some devious little Japanese torture artist was sitting there and going, let's really mess him up. And design this thing. It's almost impossible to put together if you're over 10. So, but yeah, I just sort of took my own sort of voice track and added a bit of him, bit of Peter Cullen, trying to make it sort of an organic thing, and then trying to fit it within those flaps that go, so you like strawberry jam? I didn't think you liked strawberry jam. I think strawberry jam is the best jam there ever is. When he's actually saying,
Yes.
Jetfire, rawhide, this way. It was crazy. I was trying to. Prelay is easy. ADR, very hard.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. Hello, sir.
Hi. I'm actually a big fan of a show called The Simpsons. I want to know if you guys could voice any character from that show, who would it be, and give me your best voice of them.
Well, he's already gotten this answer from me, so you go ahead.
Well, okay. I think mine would be comic book guy. So, I have editions 1 to 12 of the first Conan the Barbarian. They are very rare collector's items, and if you touch them, I swear I shall annihilate you. That's my best comic book guy.
Yeah, I probably would have wanted to play Homer.
Sounded like Krusty the Clown to me.
Ah, crap.
That's a pretty good Krusty,
Yeah, there was a little while there that the actors were on strike for more money, and they auditioned people, and, well, some of us went in. It's a gig, man. It's a gig.
Hey, that would have been a great gig.
Yeah, I know.
Those guys are all richer than
Gazillionaires.
Croesus
Yeah,
to get the
They
line.
deserve it, though. They do good
They
work.
do
And,
good work, yeah.
You know, having played original characters, I don't know how you feel, but, playing original characters versus recreating something, it's always, it's always better to do your own thing.
It's exactly better to do your own thing. It's so much more fun.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hi. First, we'll start with Neil and ask, when you were brought on to do Optimus Prime on Robots in Disguise, or
Yes.
rather, before you were brought on, what was the process
You mean
like?
the original Robots in Disguise?
Yes. The original Robots in
Now
Disguise.
that
Yes,
they're making
yes.
another one.
Yeah,
OGI.
the adaptation of car robots from Japan.
Oh, well, that didn't help. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, what was the process like, and how much information were you given about what you would be doing?
0.
Okay, I guess that was an easy question to answer then.
Well, no, because here's the thing. I didn't audition for Optimus Prime.
Oh.
Yeah. I always love when people haven't seen this video on YouTube. I went in and I auditioned for Slapper and Gas Skunk, two of the lower level flunky villains, which I play a lot of lower level flunky villains a lot, and I'm good with that. But I also read for a character called X-Brawn. And X-Brawn was a Southern SUV. And my thought process was basically, well, Southern is easy, we got to put a Southern dialect on it, but it's an SUV in the American South. Not here in Los Angeles, where I was living at the time, where people take SUVs and never actually go off-road. You know, they drive it in Beverly Hills, so an SUV in LA probably sounds like this.
Well, he was a Mercedes.
Well, my whole feeling about it was if you're an SUV in the American South, you're getting driven off-road, you get a lot of rocks thrown up into the undercarriage, so there's going to be some texture to it. So you know, we take a nice polite Southern dialect and layer on a little bit of texture to it. And howdy, ma'am, my name is X-Brawn. I'd love to help you. And so I'm walking out, and I look up into the control room, and they've got a freeze frame of Optimus Prime's face. I don't know if it was from the original or if it was from the new show. I just knew that it was Optimus Prime. And I grew up, I was about to graduate from high school when Transformers first came around. I watched it a little bit. I knew of it. I saw the movie. I never collected the toys. I never, was an Uber fan. And yet I still had Peter Cullen's voice in the back of my head ringing. And I went, I can do that. Can I read for that? And the director, and I'll never forget it, said, no, Neil, we've got plenty. Thank you. Don't worry about it. And I left. And I got a phone call a few days later. Neil, you know that thing you did for X-Brawn? The producers want to know if you can do that without the Southern dialect. And it's like, can I do a voice that I did minus a dialect that I layered on?
Of course you can.
Yeah, I think so. Why? Well, the producers think you sound like Optimus Prime, and they'd like to give you the role for the pilot, but they don't have the time to audition you, so if it doesn't work out, it's like, okay. So I recorded the pilot, not telling anybody that I worked on it. Because I had worked on stuff in the past where I told people, hey, look for this, and then it comes on the air and somebody else's voice comes out.
Hate that.
Or they cut the scene. It's like this episode of Brady Bunch. I couldn't remember if it's Peter or Cindy, but one of them, or Bobby or Cindy, but they go into a game show and they tell all their friends and everybody turns on the TV and they're not on it. Somebody thinks they're lying, and then Bobby or Cindy, whichever one it is, thinks they're going through like a Twilight Zone moment. It ends up they tape the show a week in advance. So everybody thought they were a liar. And I never wanted that to happen. And I had this happen with one show called Tenko and the Guardians of the Magic. And I played Tad, the seismologist. And Tad would swim up to the top of the ocean, and he pulled off his mask and he opened his mouth, and some other actor's voice came out. It was because there was a problem with my mic line that they didn't find out about until later. Anyway, so I didn't tell anybody I was playing Optimus Prime. So it leaked out onto the internet. And at that point in time, I was probably best known for having worked on a show called Digimon and having played a character called Hawkmon.
Thank you. Hawkman is decidedly not an Optimus Prime type of voice, And so there were people panicked all over the world. And they went to the internet and they wrote, oh dear me, Optimus Prime is going to be played by that freak. And they did not say freak. They used a word that rhymes with bag. That guy, Hawkman, oh no!
And I've got the pictures here. I've got a picture of Optimus Prime with Hawkman on his shoulder, and I sign it because my phrase that I like to say is, Hawkman digivolve to Optimus Prime.
That's funny.
It was one of those things, Gary, where and people would say to me, didn't that upset you? And it's like, no, I loved it because I knew what I was doing. And I knew it wasn't going to be anything like Hawkman. And so I was really happy with that. And I played Peter's roles at this point. I played Eeyore, which everybody knows Eeyore is just simply a depressed Optimus Prime, right?
Yes, it is.
It's basically,
Oh,
all right, Megatron, you can take over the world.
Nothing ever happens to me. It's all my fault.
If only I could find the Allspark.
Here we go. Transformers, if you want. Transform.
Autobots, roll out.
But they probably won't.
And scene.
Wow.
And I also played Venger in Dungeons and Dragons when they did the DVD. Yes, they did a final episode which tied up all the loose threads, and frankly, the producers couldn't afford Peter to come back, so they got Neil Kaplan, also known as in Hollywood as Budget Peter Cullen.
That's funny, but not true. You are just Peter Cullen too.
No,
Not budget.
No. I am the Peter Cullen that will fit within your budget.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I do.
I'm
other things
okay.
too.
I'm too. Yeah, I am too. That's how it works. Next question.
Well, I don't know if this is actually going to have a second part. I don't know if this is going to be okay.
Make it quick. Be quick.
Same question for Mr. Chalk, but about Reboot.
About Reboot, yes.
What was it like being brought on? What were you told in the beginning? How was the audition process? What was that?
Oh, well, this is how it worked. I went to read for the part of Megabyte, and it was a toss-up between Tony J, who lived here in Los Angeles, and myself. But I was also up for several other characters. The big one being Slash, for Hack and Slash. And so I went in and did Megabyte, and he goes, "My, what a delightful little sales sprite you are. So, come and tell us what you're doing. Hack, Slash, bring him to me." And that was okay, and they liked that, and they liked Tony J as well. And then with Hack and Slash, they said, make something up. And so my signature these days, I can't remember all the dialogue, but it says, he goes, "Push the button. I don't want to push the button. Every time I push the button, something bad happens. Megabyte's gonna kill us." And then, "Oh, look, it's a little sprite. Be free, little one, be free." You know, all these things, and we just make this stuff up. And they said, "Excellent. You're doing the show." So I ended up playing Turbo and Slash, Turbo, Slash, Cyrus, Al. What? Al. Who else? There were so many. Huh? And my digits. Here, Megabyte, come and get us now. Yeah, he's always getting his digits hurt. That was Doc Fingers, and that was very, very funny. So that's what happens. You go in an audition. There's a few hundred people go in, and then they narrow it down, and they narrow it down, and they narrow it down. The funniest thing I got to tell you, and this is with Mainframe, I was always second choice, and I'll give you some examples. I was second choice for Optimus, but I ended up doing it. I was second choice for Femur in this one, Shadow Raiders, and I was second choice for Megabyte, and there was another character that I was second choice when He-Man, Masters of the Universe. I was second choice, but it ended up being first choice for some unknown reason. But with Femur from Shadow Raiders, this was the funniest. They had a guy come in, and he read the character, and he got cast. And I went, "Oh, well, that's a bummer." But that happens. You go and audition, you either get it or you don't. And so I didn't think anything of it. 4 weeks later, I get a call from the guys who run Mainframe. And it says, "Can you come into the office?" And I said, "Of course I can." So I walked into the office, and they had a thing called a maquillage, which is a clay sculpture of Femur, one of the characters sitting on the table. And the head guy from Mainframe at that time, Ian, he looked at me, Ian McPherson, he looked at me, or Ian Pearson, I mean. He looked at me and he says, "Give me a voice for that." And I said, "What?" He says, "Give us a voice for that." This is one of the characters. You remember that character that on Beast? Well, give us a voice for that. And I said, okay. He says, here's some dialogue. And he said, hey, doll, what's going on? No, I'm just a businessman. And there was, he's a big lizard, a toady lizard. And so I'm looking at it, and I said, the reason I give him the voice is because he's like a toad, he's warty, and he's slimy, and he's hangs out with and he's a lawyer. Yeah, that's right. And he hangs out with this gay guy named Femur. And they don't have anything going on, but they just hang out, and it was a good contrast. Again, with Scott McNeil. So I do a lot of stuff with Scott McNeil. So anyway, they said, he looked at me, and he looked at his two guys, and he goes, what'd you think? I said, yeah, okay. All right, you're doing it. And so the next day, I went in and re-recorded all the shows that hadn't been recorded, and I did five shows. So I had to re-record all the 5 shows because the guy who they hired to play Femur didn't work out. And that's happened to me several times where you've gone in and revoiced something else after 3 or 4. The best one ever was I did this show called Sonic the Hedgehog. Do you remember Sonic the Hedgehog? Okay. Well, Phil Hayes, another voice actor, and myself played Scratch and Grounder. And Grounder, he had this one, well, I'm not stupid. I just lost my head for a moment. Oh, please, Dr. Robotnik. I know we can do this well. You just have to give us another chance, right? Well, before it was Abbott and Costello, and I played the Lou guy. I played, what's his face?
Bud Abbott?
Huh?
Bud Abbott?
Bud Abbott, yeah. I was like, come on, Lou. We can do this. And we had this thing where I played Scratch, and Phil played Grounder as Lou Costello. And we'd been recording for about 6 weeks. And Marcia Goodman, who was the producer at that time for Mattel, came into the studio one day and said, well, we don't like the voices. There's something wrong with them. And I said, what? We don't know. We just don't like them. Can you come up with something different? Of course. And brilliant, yes. This morning. And I said, sure, okay. If you don't come up something, you're fired. And so, those were her exactly. If you don't come up with something brilliant this morning, you're fired. And said, okay. So Phil and I are sitting there going, well, what the hell are we going to do? Those are the voices we had planned. What's going to do? So we tried all these stuff up. No. And I said, I got an idea. I'll play Grounder, and you play Scratch. And he goes, okay. So he did this big chicken. Bah-ha! Hey, let's do this. That was Phil. I can't do it as well. And I did Grounder. It was just a stupid little voice like this. And then they came back and they said, yes, we like those. Okay, you're doing them. You're still hired. And I went, thank you. And then it became very memorable characters in Sonic the Hedgehog. But it's one of the things about being a voiceover performer, you have to be flexible. Sometimes you have to let go of old ideas and be prepared, or be ready to come up with something new and wonderful right away. And it's like, when you're facing execution, it concentrates the mind.
I've never done that yet.
No, well, that's it, but that's what happens, and it happens all the time. And
Gary, I've got some bad news.
What?
We have a bunch of people in line and only like 25 minutes left.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, question, quick.
All right. Hey, guys, this question's for Gary here. Now, back in the 90s, you did a little show for...
You can speak at normal speed.
Okay.
Yeah, you can
all
speak
right,
at
all right.
I'm just saying that we can't
Ready?
give the whole
Anyway.
Encyclopedia Britannica version.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Anyway, back in the 90s, you did a little show for Saban called Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
Which one?
Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
Who you calling a chimp, chump?
Anyway, I'm very curious. I know you ADR'd the role of Silver, but was that you in the monkey costume as well?
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you what, I was in that costume sometimes for 16 hours a day, and it was a full prosthetic, and everything worked, all the mouth and all the hair, the suit, but it was 90-degree heat, and I had a horrible time with that show. I mean, 20 hours a day. The longest day was 20 hours. in that suit, and I had skin that looked like the surface of the moon by the time I took it off. But it was a hell of a lot of fun to play that character. I played this character named Silver, who was a big silverback gorilla. And I did most of the dialogue as much as I could live, and then I had to go in and revoice it in the studio, because when you get a thing like this, it never comes out clear.
Mm-hmm.
So that was me, yes.
Okay, I thought it looked like you. I just wasn't 100%. You never know. What? Megan? What? It looked.
What can I say? I like playing monkeys.
When you're good at something, go with it.
All right, thank you. Thank you
You're
very
quite
much.
welcome.
All right, my question for you, gentlemen, is if either of you were ever offered to reprise any roles other than from Transformers, like any other show you've done, would you take it?
Of course. Wait, does the check cash?
This one doesn't it?
If the check cashes, the answer is yes. I'm an actor. Excuse me, I'm a whore.
I prefer to call it a courtesan.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, no,
you're classy like that.
No, so are you, my friend. I mean, I got to tell you, there's no such thing as whores here. We were all courtesans. The thing is, if you get a job, of course you're going to take it, because A, that's your living. That's what you do. I mean, even if you're a multimillionaire and somebody says, like Meryl Streep, when she was offered, she had to audition for a role with Dino De Laurentiis, and the guy turns around, who is this ugly pig? Get her off the set. But he didn't realize that she spoke Italian.
Oops.
Oh, so.
Well, look, I'll tell you.
Nobody's exempt. We all go and audition. We love to get
Right.
parts.
Oh, Gary, I went to go see Ghost the Musical last Sunday. By the way, the worst thing I've ever seen on stage. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching the actors and I'm thinking, at what point do you think they knew that this was a pile of shit?
Second day.
And it's one of those things that it's like you go and you audition and they offer you the job and then you read the script and you're not going to say. The people who were in this, a lot of them had just graduated from universities. They had been in other shows. So this is somebody's opportunity to be the lead and sing the big songs and hit the big notes. And it's like, well, I got two choices. I can either be the lead in something that's not good but is touring the country and was on Broadway and does have a recognizable name, or I can say no and go back to waiting tables.
That's right.
And
the other good thing, too, just for an interjection, the other good thing, too, is a lot of actors will take roles in really terrible things, and I've done this myself. I've taken roles in things because I think all I can do and bring to this is the best performance I can do, and that's your job as an actor, is to do the best performance that you can do. It doesn't matter. I mean, I was just reading material yesterday for a German miniseries, and the script was written by a German in English, but the English was ESL.
Right.
So
it's clunky.
It's clunky, and so I looked at it and went, this can work. We'll just play around with it. And then we jiggled with the dialogue, and it was okay. So, and that's what we do. Is you never walk into a project thinking, wow, this really sucks. Why am I here?
And great projects can be ruined by a director, by an editor, by a lot of different things. So basically, when the offer comes, if it's a respectful, professional offer, most actors are going to take it.
Rock and roll. Next question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for the record, Neil, worst stage musical, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
You've never seen Ghost, my friend. You say that.
Yes, sir. Just twist the handle and let her down.
There you go.
Hey, guys. And I just want to know that it's an honor to meet you both.
It's an honor to be met.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, would you guys like to do a scenario where Optimus Primal and Optimus Prime meet?
Optimus Primal and Prime meet?
Yeah, please.
Probably be in like a Jamba Juice or something.
This would be an interesting thing. Different dimensions, like Superman and Bizarro. Take your point.
I'll be Bizarro.
Okay, and I'll be Bizarro. I love Bizarro. I thought he was
I
great.
think most actors, if you gave them that choice,
We go Bizarro.
Well, let me ask you along those lines: if you had the choice between Superman and Lex Luthor, between Batman and the Joker, do you take the hero or do you take the villain?
The hero always has the hardest job because they're the straight-ahead guy with no
You're
humor.
the boring one.
And the villains always have the best lines.
They do. They do. I guess he wants to hear. All right.
Yes, we
wait,
would.
Hold on. All right, serving number 38. Sir, what can I get for you?
You know something? What I really, really wanted was a banana split.
I'm sorry, this is Jamba Juice. We don't make ice cream. But I can make you a terrific banana smoothie.
A smoothie. That's just prime.
And scene!
There we go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyway, Neil, it's nice to meet you. You're a
Thanks,
super
brother.
cool, awesome guy. And Gary, I look forward to seeing more cameos in future films.
You will. Got a few coming up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We are at the 10-minute mark.
No!
Oh, my God.
I know.
Come on, we'll answer quick.
We have to, wait.
It is time for you to channel your
Wait,
inner
hold on a
tobacco
second. So
oxygen.
we have to end early?
We always end 10 minutes early for setup.
Okay, well, today we're going to end 5 minutes early.
Says who?
We'll get these last voices in and we'll answer really
we want
quick.
to answer the questions. You've been
Go for it.
overruled.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me.
I had quesadillas for lunch. I'm sorry.
Hi. I met Gary earlier. I didn't get the privilege to meet you, Neil. But I was wondering, in a fight, who would win, Optimus Primal from Beast Wars or Optimus Prime from RID?
What would happen is basically they would see through Megatron's plan, and they would basically fight to a certain point until Megatron dropped his guard, and then they would kick the living crap out of him.
That's right. We would. That's exactly what we would do. We would just look at it. Do you think we got him now?
I think
Have we given him enough? Oh wait. Okay, really scream on this one. Do you think he bought it?
I think so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
This is a question for Gary Chong.
Yes.
there you go. Thank you for your help.
Thank you. Okay, Gary. Would it be okay if you could do "There He Is, My Little Guy"?
Oh, my little guy.
You know.
What is that song? How did that song go?
I don't know.
My little guy is when I've got Cheetor sitting there and talking to him and saying, there, my little guy. I don't know anything else.
Oh, he's getting a cue.
There is my little guy. There is my little guy. Isn't he cute?
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
See, what you guys have to remember is when Gary does a movie, he actually takes time, looks at the lines, memorizes them, and those lines take up room in his head. And they're always going to be there. They may get shoved aside by something else, but those lines will be there. When we go in and record a voice, we walk in, there's a piece of paper on the stand, we read, and we leave. Nothing gets memorized. You guys watch these episodes again and again and again, and you remember the stuff. So we need every now and then, we need our memories jogged a little bit, because we read it one time. You guys have watched it 27,000.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
I have a question for
Okay.
Neil Kaplan.
Okay, I think I'll handle this one.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. Have you ever done any anime voices?
Yes.
So which was your favorite anime voice?
Oh, so 2 questions now. Oh, okay, fine. My favorite anime character that I've played, I mean, I like Madara Uchiha on Naruto right now because he's just so freaking evil. And that's a lot of fun. But Hawkman was a blast.
I had such a wonderful time just being that little prissy bird. Oh, dear me.
You know, I got to roll my eyes, shrug my shoulders, and just be obnoxious. It was fun. It was fun. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're
Nice
welcome.
meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
All right. See
Sure.
ya. Okay, Tom.
Funniest blooper moments for the both of you guys.
All I'll say is I wish they would have recorded our outtakes on Robots in Disguise. There were some very funny things that went on. At a certain point, I like to break up the guys on the other side of the glass if I think we've got enough time on the clock. So I used to, when we had the time, just kind of sit there and come up with, are you going to stay and listen to the... Okay, you are staying. Good. He's like walking toward the door. It's like
no, he's just going around the back. So
okay, that's fine. Good.
Disturb anyone.
I'm going to drop this bomb right here and leave. I don't care. What is that? But I used to sit there and I'd look at Optimus started out a little bit and it'd be like, all right, Autobots, transform. So I just started screwing around like this a little bit, And so Optimus was born out of, I guess, some of my bloopers. So that would be one of my funner things. Your funnest blooper, sir?
The only one I can really think of, I mean, I've had a few, but the one that really sticks out, and I think that Greg Berger and Sue Blue already stole my thunder on this one, if I recall. But the one that will forever go down in the annals of cartoon history as one of the great moments in the studio is when they asked me to do a burp for a show called Captain Zed and the Z Patrol. And so I had to make this giant burp, so I got a can of Coke, and I knocked back this can of Coke, cue for the burp, and I went, okay, ready? And he goes, here. I said, you ready? And I said, yeah. And I went, and this giant amniotic sack of foam came out of my mouth. It hit my script, and I was so freaked out, I went like this. And it went back.
And you sucked it back in, yeah.
And there was not a drop on my script. And Phil Hayes was there, and Ian Corlett, I think, and they were sitting there, and they were looking at me going, oh, that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. What the hell was that? And our poor script assistant was lying on the floor. She was rolling on the floor. I mean, she could not move. Nobody could, she even 15 minutes later, she said, okay, this is line 2. She was gone. I mean, it was the most amazing thing I had ever, I shocked myself. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life. I had
really
no
glad
idea
I
that
went
was going to happen,
first.
but that was one of the biggest outtakes.
My question's for Gary. What's your favorite SG-1 episode that you starred in and why?
My favorite SG-1 episode.
I'll go with the Y, because he starred in it.
Summit. I think it was Summit was the good one because I got to work with what's his name, the country western guy, and he played the senator or something. He'd show up every once in a while in the show. What the hell, Tim
McGraw.
Tom.
Oh, now it's Tom.
Come on, help me out here. You guys know the show. Anyway, it was called Summit, and that's when we had everybody. And I got to meet the alien, the one made out of latex.
Yeah.
And
Thor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, you remember that, but not the guy he's talking about.
I got to meet him. I got to. I spoke it half in Russian, half in English. And there's some great dramatic scenes in there, and of course with my good buddy Don. So that was one of my favorites. Was Summit.
Hello again.
Hold on a second. Now, do you speak Russian or did you do it phonetically?
Oh no, I speak. Очень хорошо. Вы свободны. Подождите меня, дверью.
Why would you say something
Russian.
like that to a nice young man?
No, these people are great people, And all I said was, today we have to meet together. So, Pashli, come here. So that's what we do.
And so I'm assuming that the writers knew that and wrote that?
Yes, well, that was one of the things about the show was, they kept saying they're going to offer me a show. They don't. And then finally the show comes up and I go, oh, great, I'm working on Stargate. And he goes, yeah, how's your Russian? I said, I don't speak Russian. He said, no, don't worry about it. We got a Russian coming over. He's going to teach you for 3 weeks. So I spoke all my scenes, my first scenes in Russian in the show.
Hold on. So you learned Russian for a role?
Yes.
That's really freaking cool.
Yes, it was. It was kind of fun and very frustrating because they have sounds that we don't even have in the English language.
Well, yeah.
And I'm going, I can't say this. And he says, yes, you can.
Your mouth is human. You can make sound. This happens.
Oh, it's easy now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Green.
All right. For any of the the testing shows, like when they're testing the waters with a show to see if it's going to be popular.
Okay.
For any of those shows, which one do you wish could have stayed on air just so you could have been on that show? For any ones that you've tried out, an example is RoboForce had like one episode and that was it.
Yeah.
So like any one episode one-offs that you kind of wish continued as a series that you went for.
Well, for me, Fargo. Well, now there's Fargo, the series that's on now, right? I did the pilot for Fargo with Kathy Bates about 15 years ago, with, funnily enough, Gwyneth Paltrow's dad, Bruce Paltrow, and Blythe Danner and Ed Begley Jr. and all these people.
Same thing based on.
Yeah, it was a pilot of a series based on the movie Fargo.
Okay.
And why buy new ones when the old ones do just as well? That's what I always say. They go, oh yeah, and we actually were from Minnesota or wherever it was, North Dakota, and we shot it up in Edmonton about 15 years ago, and CBS looked at it and said, nope, it's just too weird, and it didn't fly. And now 15 years later, they did the series, and now they're doing the series. So. That was one I wished would have gone because I had so much fun on that show. It only aired once on TLC and it was called or Trio and it was called Brilliant but Canceled.
Oh, right.
You know these shows they one-off show and you go, wow, that was a great show, but it's gone.
Right, because it just didn't make
There you
friends
go.
at the network.
Next.
I.
One more question. Go.
No. You just
Yeah, it was for both of you.
Oh, okay.
I never really had a situation where I worked on something like that, but if I had to choose a show that I wish would have lasted a little longer so I could have gotten on it, it comes back to what I said before. I just like to work, so the phone's sitting there, it's ready to ring. I'm happy to work on anything. I've auditioned for I've done several Star Wars games. I've auditioned for the shows, never been on the shows. I'd like to. Be kind of cool.
It will happen, Neil.
You're good.
Give it time.
Try Disney.
It will happen.
And we got.
All right. You have the honor of having the last question of the day.
Thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'd like to probably speak for everyone in the room to say thank you for imparting all your wisdom on everyone here this evening.
Well, what about me?
Well, I said both of you.
Well, no, you were talking wisdom. I know you were talking on that one.
Just because I'm older doesn't mean I'm wiser. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life.
No, I apologize if this question has been asked before.
It's okay.
But at what point in your lives did you know that this was kind of the career path that you wanted to take? And what did you do to teach yourself how to pursue that route of becoming voice actors? Because it's for those who may inspire to want to do it, what was the path or things you needed to learn in order to get on this path?
First thing I would tell you is if you want the answer for your own pursuit, it's irrelevant because the world that we both broke in doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that's why I asked,
Okay.
because I find the route that you all took in that age a lot more interesting, because there was a lot other pitfalls and whatnot.
No, it's just different. It's just different because nowadays, someone who's creative and living in the backwoods somewhere, they've got an internet connection, they can create something. Felicia Day has shown us such a great opportunity, and Chris Hardwick and these people that have built networks on the internet, that if you ask my brother or my aunts and my uncles who some of these people are, they would shrug and not know, and these people are huge stars to a certain community.
To a certain community.
There are Funny or Die puts out brilliant, funny stuff that's never on TV. So my thing is, if I ever meet somebody who's coming up now, I say create your own thing. I realized I wanted to be a voiceover actor, I guess, at a certain level when I was probably 5. I used to watch a show called The Copycats, and it was impressionists through the early 70s, even before Saturday Night Live, and it was Marilyn Michaels, Frank Gorshin, and a lot of other impressionists. No makeup, they didn't do anything like this, but they did this one sketch, Celebrity Sneezes. And so one that I remember was Richard Nixon, ha, 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 true! You know? And so I started doing it, and so I started going, all right, I'm gonna do Donald Duck. And my brothers, being big brothers, said, that was horrible.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound anything like Donald Duck. And little did I know, I stumbled on how Ducky Nash did it. I don't know how I did.
But I cut my car, I put my kid, and you gave my car, and you shove all the sound out that way. So then it became...
I couldn't understand a word you said.
And
you know,
so it was basically playing around. And how did I get here? I play with my voice every day. My wife said to me a couple of weeks ago when we were having an argument, she said, you don't work on your craft. I said, honey, you know when I said to you, is that good? I was actually working on my craft. When I sit there and go, well, dinner looks nice, darling, I'm working on my craft.
And you thought it was love.
Yeah, but it's one of these things, and so that I grow my range every day of my life.
Yeah.
And that's what I do, and I don't care if I'm ever seen ever again. I've done stage work, it's great. I've done some stuff on camera, it's fine. I am a nervous New York Jew. I sit there and just go, I'm schwitzing, and they just have to. I'm so much more comfortable in front of a mic. And it's like, you know, I listen to your wonderful baritone voice, and I sit there and go, oh, I'd like to play him. He's pretty cool. You know, and it's like, I want to play Indians, and I want to play African Americans, and I want to play Jamaicans, and I want to play women, and I want to play aliens, and I don't want to be restricted by being too short, too fat, too thin, too tall, too ethnic, not ethnic enough, and just be as versatile as I can be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Tootsie Kaplan.
Oh, stop. So, Gary, how did this develop for you?
Well, I gotta wrap it up because the time is wasting. But first off, I gotta say that was a great question. I think one of the best questions of the day. How do you approach this career? And what I say is small steps. You set small goals for yourself. Yes. You determine, well, how do I get into it? And then you go and find out how you get into it. Me, I was a lot of legwork, a lot of walking around from studio to studio, from ad agency to ad agency. Whenever there was things that would come up, like cartoons and stuff, I mean, I got myself an agent who could put me into these things. But again, it was small steps. And learn your craft before you go. Don't just think, you know, I'm a great singer, because you know what happens on American Idol. There are all those people on American Idol that they think they are God's gift. They are brilliant, and they're absolutely horrible. So always, before you go into an audition thinking you're God's gift, just assume that you're not, and get your chops down, get your acting down, your acting skills first.
Yes,
your acting skills will allow you. Your acting skills will allow you to do any medium. It'll allow you to do theater. It'll allow you to do film. It'll allow you to do animation and commercials.
And one of the things that Gary is saying, without knowing it, is that when he does a voice, he doesn't do a voice. He plays a character. Gary inhabits the entire character. You may only hear his voice, and that's what he's saying, is we don't just do voices. And that's the misperception out there in the general populace. People who want to pursue this. I can do a lot of voices. Well, that's nice. Can you play a character? You know, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Can you do it? Can you do Shakespeare and make it believable?
Yep.
In a cartoon voice. That's the key. Because it's not the voice. The voice is only 30%. The acting skill is the 70%.
Yep.
That's what you have. And now we have to wrap it up, everybody.
Yeah, we are done.
We are
Thank
done.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
What a great panel. What a great bunch.